So what? It's just sex.
Wait a minute.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Ron,
And Janelle.
and you're listening to a new episode of
So What?
It's just sex. Oh my goodness, so much shit has happened, Janelle.
A lot of shit has happened.
A lot of shit
Well,
has
like
happened.
some shit has happened.
I mean, for us, it's a lot of shit.
yeah,
For the rest of the world, it's like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
it's true.
It's like when things happen to us, it's huge,
it's huge.
but it's not huge to anyone else.
That's very true.
Like, no one gives a fuck.
No,
They do not gaff.
no.
But
Do not give a fuck. DGAF.
yes, DNGAF.
NGAF.
Do not give a fuck.
Yeah. Oh, DNGAF.
Yeah, didn't
No,
gaff.
it's don't give a fuck. DGAF.
Okay, I guess if don't.
Like, I don't give a fuck.
I
do not give a fuck. That's like way too much
That's too many
effort
words.
in the like English.
So let's talk about all the shit that happened. We had a very bad week last week.
Yeah, we did.
Last week a lot happened. So our podcast went down. the hosting company that we were using, which we will not talk about,
We won't.
but they were down for like 7 days.
Yeah.
For
And on the third day, you're in a panic-stricken mode, and you're like, I just can't, and you're frustrated, and you're freaking out, and I didn't know how to help you, because,
How do
what
you
am I
help
gonna
me?
do? I don't know.
You can't help me.
But I wanted to help you. I'm a fixer, so I feel like I
but
needed
you-
to help you, but I couldn't do anything.
You can't fix it. That company was down. Like they went down and not in the good way.
yeah,
Like no one enjoyed how they went down on everyone.
that's true.
So we found a new company, and then in finding a new company 5 days later, I had to re-upload all 10 episodes last Friday.
Which is not a bad thing, right? Because we just like threw all of our content out at one time.
Yeah, and then with the new company that we were with, which only tracks downloads, our podcast was downloaded almost 200 times in a week.
So that's good, right? You
So that
say
was good.
downloads are better than streams. So
Downloads
that's good.
are way better than streams.
Sounds
So
good.
almost 200 downloads in a
Give
week.
us a fresh start.
Yes. So that's what we did. And then we went to Feel More Adult in Oakland. And we did an entire interview with them. And
So Feel More Adult is a sex toy shop in Oakland.
and we did an entire interview with them. And it turned out that I never hit record.
And I'm the type of person where I'm like, well, that sucks, but what can you do? You can't rewind time and fix that situation. So it's like everything is a learning opportunity. We learned, we grew, and we understood what we needed to do the next time we do that.
But I beat myself up about it
You
for
did.
like 4 days.
I know.
So for like 4 days, I was like, I cannot believe that I didn't hit record. We had such a great interview with Nina. They were so amazing.
Yeah.
They showed us all of the amazing things that they had in their store. And you wound up buying a toy.
Yeah, which I couldn't find the name of it. I know you're asking me to find that, but there's no name.
No, there is a name.
Here it is right here. You want to find the name?
Yeah.
Go ahead, find the
Yeah.
name of it.
So basically, it's
Dildo with a tongue on the end of it.
No, it's made by Pipe Dream, and it's called Fantasy for Her.
There you go.
And it is this like suction licking dildo vibrating. Come on, you can explain it better than I can.
It has suction and it has a tongue stimulator, and then it has a G-spot on the other end, a G-spot stimulator on the other end. So you could use it in like 3 different ways.
So the suction, just in case you're trying to figure out what we mean by suction. So there is this, imagine if there was a tongue attached to a dildo.
Yeah.
Then on top, like surrounding that tongue
There's
is a cone.
A cone.
And the
The
cone,
cone of happiness.
yeah, and the cone goes around either your nipples. There's 2 cones. There's one cone that's round for the nipples, another one that's kind of like an oval shape for your vagina.
Yeah.
Virgina.
The vagina.
The virgina. And then when you put it over there, it sucks the clit and your lips. It just sucks it. It like pulls it into the toy
Yeah.
until it reaches the tongue.
Yeah.
And at first, on my side, because I used it on you, because you were like, well, you use it. So I'm like, okay, I'll
Well,
put
you
it.
were very curious. So
I
like,
wanted.
well, go ahead and try it out.
I wanted to try it on the drive
Just
home.
like have your way with me. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I put it on you, and I noticed that like, okay, imagine everybody if like you're looking at your girl's pussy, and then all of a sudden it sucks the pussy like 7 inches into this toy.
7 inches.
It's like 5 inches. Okay,
It's not 7 inches. It's like 3. It's like 2 to 3 inches.
It's like 5 inches.
7 inches.
You're
You're
right.
making it seem like I have these camel
No,
lips.
no.
Camel
That's the
toe
whole
lips.
point. Remember, I told you about this. I showed Janelle these images on the internet of what her pussy could look like because there was these like.
It was very disturbing.
Because there's these like suction pussy lip things on the internet, and they're significantly more extreme. This is not that extreme, but they turn your like pussy into like a giant balloon. But I was like, no, Janelle, let me just try it. So I put it on there, and I was like, does that hurt? And she is screaming
Yeah.
in pleasure.
It was great.
It was
the
like-
greatest toy we've ever had.
It was like instant, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I was hurting you.
No, it was great.
I was like, oh my God, I'm like, because all of a sudden you just see the skin like, whoop. I'm like, holy shit, it goes that far? Like, I had no idea. It just turned into this bubble, and then it's licking on you. And you were just, I don't even know how many orgasms you had the first time we used it.
Like 3 to 4, maybe 5. I don't know.
It was,
I lost count, but it was like the best purchase we've ever had or made.
so I don't know what it felt like. So you tell me, what did it feel like? I mean, did you feel it sucking your pussy lips?
Yeah, like you feel like it's sucking your labia, and then there's like the tongue on your clitoris, and there's just so much. It's like that moment where you're so overwhelmed that you just want to kick someone in the face.
I mean, you did like almost a complete 360 on the bed. Like you started with your head on the pillows by the headboard, and by the time you ended, you were like facing the opposite direction.
Yeah,
It was insane.
it was intense.
So the toy is like, would you recommend this toy?
I would recommend that toy if you don't have any other toy. Even if you have other toys, you need to invest in this toy.
And then
Because
not
it has
just the
both ends.
suction.
It has both ends. So you could have where if you want to have like the clitoral stimulation with the tongue and the suction.
What was
and
better?
everything.
Was the suction and the tongue, or was the tongue the better part? Because we used it
The
without the
tongue was
suction,
incredible. Oh my god.
where it's just blah, 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 blah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane, and then you flip the script and you use the other end of it, and you're like,
As a G-spot stimulator.
and then you're like, oh my god. Like, I can't even put it into words. What am I supposed to say? It felt really, 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 really good.
I mean, we basically spent last weekend getting you off with that new toy. Like, am I correct?
Yeah, and then I wanted to try it on your nipples, and you wouldn't let me.
No, because I don't like stimulation on my nipples. Like, even if we're just having sex, if you like lick my nipples, I'm like, get away from there. Like, stay away from my nipples.
You do that, actually.
Yeah, I'm like very. I don't think it's
You're
insecure.
nipple sensitive?
But I'm just no. It doesn't. It's like get away from me.
All right.
Like maybe because I have tits. Like when I have a flat chest.
I have tits, and I like
no, but
it.
that's the point. I'm just saying for me, maybe I'm assuming
You're
that
just
it's like
insecure.
yeah, maybe I feel like feminine when you're sucking on my tits. So like
I
that
don't
thing.
want to suck on your tits.
I know, but I feel like I have tits.
Yeah, but you don't have tits, and I don't want to suck on them either. But this
But you
is
wanted to put
different.
that toy on my tits.
It's more about it's like more about the stimulation part. It's not about the nipple or the clit or whatever.
I want a
It's
toy
just
like
more
that
about
for my dick.
stimulating something.
I want a toy like that for my dick.
I was tempted to put it on your dick. What if we
put-
sucked the tip of your dick in there?
Well, because it's not going to fit. Because the fucking piece with the tongue is with the sucky part.
You just said it's 7 inches. I mean, that seems about right.
Thank you. That's right. You heard it here, folks. If there's a 7-inch gap in there, then my dick would be just about right for
I mean,
that.
I think that's above the national average.
I think I'm like right at
I think
or
the
above.
national average is 6.5.
Yeah, I'm like right around there.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to give myself props that aren't due.
So you're saying my lips extended the length of your dick?
No, obviously I was over exaggerating.
Okay, thank you. I just needed that to
No,
happen.
but maybe it's 3 to 4 inches. But it was the thing is it's like if you look at this thing online and it's just got this huge cup, and then it's got this tongue, and you put it on her pussy, and the tongue doesn't reach the clit, but then all of a sudden it does this like sucking thing, and it's like different intervals, and it sucks the clit into it, and I'm just like, wow.
Does it look alien down there?
No, it looks amazing. Doesn't look.
Maybe you should record it.
Oh,
Because
gosh.
I can't see, like, I could look down, but I can't really see, like, your perspective.
Yeah, but if I record it, you're gonna be like, holy shit.
My pussy looks like that?
No, because it just sucked your pussy right into it.
Well, it's a suction cup.
Yeah, and it
the lips
sucked,
are just
but like,
soft.
but like your pussy went like it filled that whole cup. Like you've seen that cup on its own, and imagine it full of your pussy.
Yeah.
And then it was like licking you. You were like screaming.
It was great.
And then right when like you almost came like 100 times, and then I like the first time we used it, I took it off, and then I turned it the other way where it's the G-spot stimulator, and I stuck it in you. Done. You were like.
Checked out.
You were like,
Check, please.
And then you came like 3 and I wouldn't take it out of you.
Yeah.
Because that's
You were like torturing me in the best type of way.
yeah, because that's the thing. Like a lot of times, especially with girls, or I won't say all girls, but I'll say with you, in the past, you'll come and then immediately you push me off of you.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't come anymore.
Well, because it's like overstimulation.
Yeah, but then we've gone into this new thing where I'm just like, yeah, did you just come? You're gonna come again, and you're like, and I'm like, don't stop, and then you don't stop, and you keep going, and then you're like screaming in like the most amazing way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. So toys are like super important. I feel like it doesn't matter if you bring it sexually as a man or a female or whatever it is that you do in the bedroom, toys.
It just adds a little spice.
It's like sometimes it's like when you want to watch something on TV that you don't normally watch, but it's like you still enjoy it.
Yeah.
It like brings a nice break from the monotony.
Yeah, I feel like you're eating dinner and you make a steak, like you want some salt and pepper on it.
Oh yeah.
You know, the steak is going to be good. It's steak. Come on.
Like
But-
who doesn't like steak except for like vegans?
Well, vegans and vegetarians.
which
but
we won't even get into.
No, I'm not speaking to those people right now. I mean, I can be, but I'm just saying, to me, steak tastes delicious. But if you add some salt and pepper, it like elevates the dish.
So I'm gonna be a little naive
Actually,
right now.
it elevates any dish, salt and pepper.
Yeah,
Even tofu.
I'm going to be naive right now, and this is something that we're not going to answer on this podcast, but I'm going to go ask vegans this question, and then we'll talk about it on a future podcast.
Yeah.
Do you know what my question is?
No.
Okay. So basically my question is, do vegans suck dick?
Okay.
Because I'm thinking that because it's meat in their mouth. Like, that's meat.
They're not eating it.
No, but I'm just saying it's in their throat.
And it's an animal, and it's not inhumane to suck a dick.
Are you sure?
How is it inhumane?
I don't know.
We're not torturing a dick by sucking it.
Who knows?
Oh, okay. Dick sucking is torture to you?
Okay, so is that what it comes down to? So it's not about
Yeah.
putting meat in your mouth, it's just about torturing an animal.
Yeah, and also the health benefits. You're not gaining any health benefits by eating a cow.
But
Actually,
you're gaining
hurting your body.
But you're gaining health benefits by sucking a dick?
No, you're not hurting your body or helping it. It's a mute point. It's like you're just doing it for pleasure for someone else.
Cuz I don't know. I feel
You're
like
just licking it.
okay, well,
And it's not, it's like, I guess it's raw meat, but it's
Yeah.
not animal dick. It's a man's dick. That's it.
okay, it's just I mean,
You're not ingesting it.
I'm not wrong for questioning this. I'm just wondering
It's a good question.
Cuz a lot of times people are like
I feel
won't
like there's probably people out there that don't because of that.
yeah, just
Now
like
that you bring it up.
just like DJ Khaled who won't suck a pussy.
He doesn't do that because he's a vegan.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. But there's people out there who don't do it for less. But being vegan, you might not want meat in your mouth.
I feel like some guys are just like, nah, I ain't gonna eat that pussy.
Yeah, like
You're okay, why?
am I
don't
the
know,
only
sound
one?
like
I
it.
can't listen to DJ Khaled anymore now that I know that he doesn't eat pussy. Because I just like, how do you not eat pussy? That's like,
Yeah, but if you're really like thinking more deeply into that situation, I just feel like that's more. It comes in like it's a misogynistic view. Like he deserves all the pleasure. He makes hella money. His wife, I don't think does anything per se. I think she just like takes care of their kid. I don't know her.
but you don't think it's a cultural thing? Like
It's
maybe
a cultural
like maybe
and-
he was raised to think that you
Yeah.
don't put your mouth on a pussy.
Yeah, it's cultural, and it also has to do with him being a man.
But we don't know
in
though.
that culture.
Like we can't speak to that. Like we're just using our own based on our knowledge. That's I mean, I can't get DJ Khaled on this podcast to ask him why he won't lick a pussy.
I think he said he doesn't like it.
Yeah, I think he thought he was like it's gross.
It could be a personal preference, actually.
How do you like? Can you imagine?
Give me a girl that doesn't suck dicks.
Like, so let me ask you a question. So if I was DJ Khaled and you were my woman, and I was like, I'm gonna buy you everything you want, but I'll never go down on you, but I expect you go down on me, what would you be good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the money?
Yes.
Oh, so you can be bought.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, there you go. So what, it's just sex? Janelle has a price.
You can buy me anything. Are you going to buy me anything that I want? You're DJ Khaled. You make tons and tons of money. I get to live in a big-ass house, but you won't lick my pussy?
Yeah.
So are we in an open relationship in this scenario?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just DJ Khaled.
I think I'd be okay with that.
So what you're saying is that in the 2019, the year of the Me Too movement and all that stuff with women empowerment,
what does oral sex have to do with Me Too?
Because
movement?
you deserve to be pleased as well. If you're gonna put
with
meat
sex.
in your mouth, you think that guy's good at sex?
No, probably not.
You think DJ Khaled is good at sex?
Probably not.
Okay, so then
Okay, you're digressing.
How am I digressing?
What's the question? The question was very basic, and I answered the question.
Yeah.
But now you're putting off all these.
I'm just saying. I'm just basically saying, like, as a woman, I can't believe you would say that you would be okay with having a man who wouldn't go down on you just
I'm
because
sorry.
of money.
Yeah, it's true.
No, it's fine. Don't apologize.
I'm not answering for all women. I'm answering for myself.
I just can't believe that that's coming from you, from the girl that I know.
Okay, let's flip the script real quick.
Okay.
So you get married to
Charlize Theron.
sure. Insert
'Cause she's
any
single.
Hollywood person.
Let's go with Charlize Theron.
Sure, she takes care of you, buys you everything your heart desires, and just won't suck your dick. You wouldn't do it?
Yeah, I
Don't
wouldn't.
you fucking lie right now.
No, I wouldn't.
If Charlize Theron came knocking on our door and was like, come here, Ronald Bello. I'm going to take you out of this obscurity and I'm going to take you into the Hollywood lifestyle.
Yeah.
Take you on trips to Africa and Europe and fucking Tahiti, wherever the fuck people go,
Yeah.
Bali. And you'd never have to worry about a thing. I'm just never going to suck your dick.
Yeah. Let me ask you a
You
question.
wouldn't do it.
How many times?
You're lying.
How many times did you suck my dick over like 18 years of marriage?
A lot.
19 years of marriage? Not really all that much. Like recently, yes. Like in the last year and a half, 2 years, sure. You've been on like a dick sucking like thing. Like you're basically like a walkabout of dick sucking. Sure. But before that, it was very, very rare that you would put my dick in your mouth. And you did not take me to Bali.
Your
And
point-
you didn't take me anywhere. And I still stuck around because I loved you. So if Charlize Theron wanted to be with me, but like I go down on her and she doesn't suck my dick, I'm good. But guys are not the same as women. Guys have the like literally as long as they come, they're completely happy. But I feel like women are more complicated. I feel like women need more than just like making a girl come is like step one. You know what I mean? Okay, you've already overcome this hill, but like now you need to do these other things. And I feel like going down on you would be one of those things. But that's just based on our relationship because how much I know you like me going down on you.
I do, but I don't think that's the begin all and
I can't
all.
believe on this podcast you said you'd give it all up for traveling to Bali and being with DJ Khaled. That guy, I mean, I feel like I'm a little
You didn't
bit.
say DJ Khaled.
I did. I said. I said if DJ Khaled. Anyways, I feel like I'm a little bit more attractive than he is, but that's fine.
What does this have to do with your attractiveness? How is this all about you right
because
now?
guys only care about themselves.
Obviously.
So first and foremost, it's
Okay.
am I hotter than him? And
Yes.
secondly is you need to suck my dick, and I can't believe you wouldn't suck his dick, and maybe I don't make enough money, but whatever. I'm just saying it's interesting that to bring it all back together, this toy sucking on your clit, I can't imagine you living a life without that.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
the toy's like $129.
yeah, but I'd rather fuck a dick than play with that toy.
Okay, that's good. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I feel like if I've ever bought a real doll, I don't know, if I spent like $8,000 on this, real doll and it felt real, I don't know if I would ever feel the need to have anything else. But I feel like if something can make me come, like in my brain, if I was a female,
Okay.
I wouldn't need men.
I'm going to add to this. So you have a real doll.
Mm-hmm.
You have like the best that the company has to offer.
Right.
Then you come inside of it, and then you have to clean it out with a bristle brush.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
So what you're saying is my laziness would make it where I can't use that toy after a while?
Probably.
Because guys don't want to go in there. It's so much work.
I'm just saying, like, it's not a warm body. It doesn't kiss you back, and you have to clean out the plastic pussy when you're done. That sounds more intriguing than being with a real woman.
No, I mean, I never thought about like that. I feel like if I could afford a real doll, I would have a maid, and
Sure,
I'd be like,
on the side.
I'd be like, please wash this thing's pussy for me. by the
No,
time I got
it's
home
not
tonight.
that level. It's not like so unattainable. That's an attainable
Not
device.
for me.
Not for you, but in general, it's attainable. It's
But
not
for
like,
me,
so you don't have to be DJ Khaled to get a real doll.
I feel like in my brain,
So you're saying if you had a real doll, you wouldn't need a woman or a wife or a girlfriend or anything.
I'm just saying that in my brain, when a woman has the ability to masturbate with all these a plethora of toys that can make them come 5 times by just putting it near their clit. Yeah, I feel like guys don't have that. I mean, guys, you can make them come by just touching their. You can like literally, you could like speak to my dick, and it probably would come.
You prefer that over sticking it in some
No,
real pussy.
I'm not saying preferring. I'm just saying that guys
You're
are
saying
very
preferring.
easy.
You said preferring.
No, I'm just saying that guys are easy to get off.
Okay.
So if I had a $10,000 real doll where I can just like fuck it, but the thing is, I didn't think about cleaning it. The cleaning it, like that would be a lot of effort. Like I would be sitting there
You
going,
like barely do the dishes.
I know. It's like
You gonna clean out a plastic pussy? I don't know.
I'd be like, well, how do you do it too? Do you have to like pick up this 120-pound thing and take it into the shower and
Why
like?
does it got to be 120 pounds?
What?
Why can't it be 150 pounds?
Well, that's just how much they weigh.
Oh, is
but-
that the one that you would choose? the one that weighs the one that weighs 120? Oh, so you want a petite girl? Okay, I see.
Okay, so now that I've gotten myself in a bunch of trouble. No, but that's so funny. So if you could have a real doll that's a dude, what are you gonna get? A 250-pound real doll?
Yeah.
What? Get the fuck out of here. Okay, 250 pounds fully jacked,
Yeah.
you mean? What's that guy?
What am I gonna get? A 250 pound
Me?
married man that's
Yeah,
fucking
can I
got
get
a
that?
beer belly and tits?
I would like the
Why would I spend $15,000 on that? I have that for free.
so fucked up. Just to let everybody know, in case you have not realized, but we went out to brunch and we've been drinking mimosas since 10 a.m. And I don't mean like 3 or 4. We're like on number 15.
I lost track.
And then we came home and we're drinking wine. So Janelle is feeling a little feisty.
What does that have to do with anything that I just said?
Because you just said, why
You
would I
just
spend
discre-
15
No, excuse me. You just discredited all my burns right now with the fact that I've been drinking when I'm telling the truth. Why would I order? Well, you're going to tell me you're going to order a real doll with stretch marks. You're going to be like, you know what? I want the real doll with frazzled... I want the real doll with highlights in her hair. Her hair looks burned, so it needs to be moisturized. Make sure that her hair looks like it needs to be moisturized. Also, I want a little bit of forehead wrinkles, so it looks like she's aged in the sun. Also, I need her to have a couple of white pussy hairs in addition to her having stretch marks
She would
on
be
her
shaved.
stomach and her tits, because I really need her to have had kids sometime in her plastic life. And then also, I
Plastic
really
kid.
want some cellulite on her ass. You're going to tell me that's the fucking real doll that you're ordering? Or are you going to order the one that looks like Ariel the mermaid who's like 18 with red hair and a tight pussy and big tits?
Well, you said Ariel, so I have to go with yes.
I know.
who
I know your
doesn't-
type. I know
who
your type.
doesn't- Yes, I'm a fan of Ariel. I'm
Fine.
sorry.
But don't.
I'm also a fan of Belle.
Excuse me. Don't try to drunk shame me into the real doll that I would order.
It's just that it's because you attacked me specifically.
I did not.
When you said a dad bod.
You said 250 pounds. I did not. But I said 250 pounds. Jack. Yep. With a 12-inch penis. Why
Yeah.
not?
Of
And
course.
if I can't fit it all in,
You-
I'm going to
'cause-
try. And then if it doesn't work, I have next time.
Because you want a Joe Magliano,
Yeah. Magniello.
whatever the fuck his name is.
Do you know our son has him as his screen
Yeah,
saver?
yeah. Our son has Joe Magniello
That's
as
like his dream bod.
it's his dream bod. So basically, has it as like his I hope to look like him someday.
Which I thought was really cute because, girls, I think girls do that, but I never thought I would see a guy with that. But that's what he aspires to look like.
Yeah.
But anyway, don't drunk shame me into what my real doll would look like. It's not because I'm drinking. That's really what I would order.
I'm not saying
Or
that.
not order.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you came at me and I was getting defensive.
I did not come at you.
But sex toys are fun.
Including the fact that we cannot afford a real doll today, but maybe someday.
No, and we talked about this once on our podcast where
Where would we put it?
I don't know. I would just leave it on the bed.
That would take up too much space.
No, but that's fine. It could sleep with us.
No,
we just have to
good.
get rid of the dog. But
Bella would start gnawing at their toes.
But what I don't understand, and then since we're on this conversation and we're having a drunk podcast anyways, is that if we got a super attractive, for both of us, real doll female, and we just had it with a penis attachment to it, why wouldn't you be on board with buying that?
Okay, can we have a guy one that has a pussy?
That doesn't make any sense. Don't you want to ride it when I'm not home?
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't ride it when I'm not home because it's a dude with a pussy.
Okay.
So you're saying that the dude would have a penis attachment and I could take the penis off and then it has a pussy?
I'm pretty sure we could get both. I
Yeah.
feel like that's not out of the
Yeah,
realm
but you
of
like
reality.
boobs. Don't you like
Sometimes,
boobs?
sure.
Okay. So we need to get two. That's like $20,000.
Yeah.
This is why we're never going to have a real doll because
We would never be able to decide on the features.
but I feel like
I want triple D's. No, I want big C's. Okay.
yeah, but I would be fine with A's
Oh.
as long as we had a real doll. I'm just saying, we should get one of those. We should contact that company and see if maybe we can get them to send us one so that we
Do
could
it.
talk about it on the show.
That'd be fun.
And you wouldn't care which one it was.
No, if I got it for free, I'd try it out.
Yeah?
Yeah, why not?
With the dick attachment?
Sure.
See, because I think you'd be into that because you like boobs. Sometimes I think that's why you like me being a little heavier than normal because I have these little A cups and then it makes you give you the best of both worlds.
I don't think so, but yeah, maybe.
No?
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. I think that's a good idea, though. We should definitely contact them.
So with sex toys, the sex shops in general, I personally feel. Oh, and just make sure everybody, if you live in the Northern California area, you do go over to Oakland and visit Feel More Adult. They are amazing, and Nina, the owner, they are ridiculously cool. So, with sex shops being so popular, and with our podcast, and there's so much stuff right now that's revolving around sex, and we kind of noticed this a few years ago with I feel like Netflix. I feel like Netflix is really kind of bringing that in, and there is a show on Netflix called Big Mouth, and that was
Oh,
kind
that's a
of
good
like
one.
the first show where I was like, "Holy shit,
Yeah.
this show is amazing!"
Yeah.
For people who don't know what Big Mouth is, it's a show about kids in elementary school.
Yeah. Or like middle school or something.
Yeah, something like that. And they're kind of going through puberty. Or as this title song goes, they're going through changes. And, they go through things like getting, morning wood and getting your period for the first time. And there's just so much stuff on there. And I really love that show. And I was like, Janelle, you got to watch this show. And Janelle's not a fan of cartoons. Is that correct?
Yeah, not really. Mm-mm.
You don't like cartoons?
Not really.
Which is
not
interesting.
like adult cartoons. Not really any cartoons, actually.
Which is interesting because this has been her stance on a lot of things. But then one of her favorite movies of all time were The Croods.
Croods.
The Croods. Right, The Croods. That put you in tears.
That was good. I mean,
and then
were good.
And then Big Mouth, good. Frozen.
Yeah, but this is different. I don't have small children anymore, and this is not a child cartoon. This is an adult cartoon.
But if our kids were little, they're grown now, but if they were little, if they were in middle school, we would let them watch that show. Mm-hmm. Because that show teaches a lot of stuff that we wish we would have learned.
Well, yeah, and it makes it a little bit more the norm.
Yeah.
In terms of the conversations that they're having, the issues that they're going through. There's an episode about the girl going through puberty. She gets her period. She hates her mother. She steals lipstick from the store. And like, I literally went through that. Like, it's actually like really refreshing to feel like I didn't talk to the writers of that show. So that must be like a thing that girls go through. But I felt so isolated and like, I'm a fucking weirdo. Why am I stealing lipstick when my mother would probably buy it for me? But it was like, that's the rebellious streak that happens when you go through puberty and you turn like 14, 15 and you're just like, I hate everybody. I'm going to buck the system. Fuck all y'all. I'm doing what I want.
And she gets, her mom makes her wear the white shorts while she's on her trip.
I had white shorts on when I got my period.
And so she gets her period and then she gets in the car and her mom's like, what's wrong? And she's like, she's just crying.
It's terrible. It's so fucking embarrassing. I was like on the stoop in New York and like sitting on the stairs and I felt like shit all day at school. And I was like telling my aunt, I don't know where my mother was, but I was telling my aunt, I was like, I don't feel good. Like my stomach hurts. Like I feel really tired. Something's going on. Had no clue that that's what was about to happen. And I'm sitting on the stoop and my aunt's friend was out there. It was summertime. And she's like, oh, you have some blood on your shorts. And I'm like, what? And then she's like, yeah, you have some blood like right there. No one, my aunt's like, go put a tampon in. I'm like, what the fuck is a tampon? And how do I even do this? And then she worked for like a state hospital. So she had these pads that were like the fucking size of a pillow, like a body pillow is what it felt like. And I was like, I'm not putting a tampon in. I think I tried and it hurt. And then I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. No one helped me. But the point is that episode, she gets her period, and then her friend, the little boy that's like her best friend,
the Jewish guy,
and his Nick Kroll is the voice of him. But he gives her a sweatshirt to tie around her waist, so it covers it up because she's like mortified. And it was just really refreshing to make it like, I don't know, just normal, because that happens to everybody. That's happened to every woman. And then every woman has pretty much gotten their period, right?
Yeah, and then she goes into her room and she meets her hormone monster for the first time.
It was Maya Rudolph, who's ridiculously funny.
And then her mom comes in because she gets in the car. She's crying to her mom that she got her period, and she can't even speak, but she's cries speaking. Yeah. It's so funny. And then, so she goes into the room and her mom comes in and goes, hey, baby, you feeling better? She's like, get out the room, Sharon. Oh, my God.
That's the best show.
And then the boys are like playing basketball and they're like, dude, can you believe she got her period? Can you imagine bleeding out of your penis?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just this conversation that like we didn't have when we were young. We didn't have television.
I remember I was probably 15 or something. We went to Great Adventure. And it was summertime. This is probably like the same weekend. I don't even know. And my cousin was like, what's wrong with you? You're so grumpy. And I'm like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. I'm like, what if you had blood coming out of your penis hole? And I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15. This was before I even really saw a penis. I didn't see a penis at that point. And he was like, oh, he got so scared of the conversation. And I'm like, I felt bad that I shocked him like that, but that's real. I'm having a rough time, and you guys are having the best time ever, going on roller coasters and the water rides and stuff, and I'm like, I'm dealing with some shit over here, okay?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I don't remember specifically where I was when I found out that girls bled, because that's not something that was told to me. I remember I think I was in Northern California and a friend of mine got her period and I was like, wait, what happens? And it's on all fronts. It's not just like, it shouldn't be just a female thing. I think that men need to be brought into this as children to understand that those things happen to women so that they can grow up to be more understanding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I didn't grow up that way. I was like, oh shit. So I don't understand what this means. Like, are we not?
Is your ass bleeding?
Yeah, like your mouth's not bleeding. I don't know why we can't hook up. But like, yeah, it's like nonsense shit that men go through. And when you're not raised to know that women have their period, like they don't talk about that with boys. Mm-hmm. So you only, as a female, you should be talked about that as when you're younger, but you didn't have that conversation with your mom.
Not really.
And
not that I remember anyway.
But I think boys, if you're just in a house filled with boys, I think boys should also have that conversation because they should understand how the human body works.
Absolutely.
And just because it's not going to happen to them doesn't mean that they shouldn't know. And then it maybe will help them when they grow up be more understanding.
Sensitive to it.
But I know that, like, for us, it's like your period has been kind of like a big thing for our relationship. Because the first time you and I hooked up, the next day when you were here from New York, you got your period. And we had to have sex on your period. And I was like, all right, this is like, I felt like it was normal. I was like, this is what happens with women. It's fine. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a big thing. But I'm like a very rare individual. A lot of people think I'm just gay all the time. So they're just like, well, of course Ron would be okay with it. He sucks a lot of dicks.
Yeah. People
But
think that about you, but you
people
haven't
think
sucked
that.
any dicks.
I have not.
No, you haven't.
And I can no longer say I haven't had my dick sucked by a man, but like, I would like to say that I have not sucked any dick. And I'm pretty sure that that's never going to change. I'm pretty confident. But then you can never say never, because I was pretty confident I was never going to have my dick sucked by a dude.
When the moment is right.
And that has happened. So after Sex Education, after Big Mouth came Sex Education. So both of these so far are on Netflix. And Sex Education was an amazing show. And we can't wait for the next season. And this is a show about young kids again. They're in like primary school, I guess, because that would be like middle school and high school put together in one.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably 15 or 16 or something.
But it takes place in England, and they're going to school together. And one of them, his mom's a sex therapist, so he kind of has grown up around that whole thing where it's, to him, sex is normal, and he's understood like all the dynamics of sex. But this girl in his class realizes that kids in the school have this need to talk about the shit going on with their bodies. And
one of the first episodes was about a girl who I think she like threw up every time she went down on her boyfriend. She didn't know why that was happening. And so then the boy, who's the main character, he has a sex therapist mother, and he's trying to get to the root of the problem. And so it's not just like the simple fact that she's throwing up when she goes down on her boyfriend. It's like a deeper meaning. And so this other girl recognizes that he has like a talent with his therapy skills. And so they devise a scheme to make money. But in that, he helps his classmates.
He does. And the show was so good. And the things that they talked about in that show are things that I wish people talked about when I was younger. And if I had kids, I would definitely let them see that show. There's a big... And we suffered, or I'm going to say I won't say we. But I suffered from this a lot when we had kids. I was afraid to let my kids see anything that had sex in it. Because in my brain, the way that I was raised, you can't do that. And that was like something that I regret. That's
the thing with you, and that would actually surprise me because you're pretty open about most things, but that was like something that you coveted, like you didn't want them seeing tits or sex scenes or whatever.
But then when our oldest turned 17, I started showing him everything. Yeah. Like it was this thing where I wanted them to know everything, but I was afraid that like if I did it too young, that I would be. And the thing is, I don't even like talk to my family or my mother or anything. So I wouldn't have been letting anyone down. But in my brain, I was just like, oh, I can't let my kids see sex right now.
Right.
You know, and now that they're older, we're able to talk about everything, and you know, it's like it's a lot easier to
Do you
discuss.
think that comes from you had like there was like a dirtiness behind sex?
Oh, totally. Yeah, it was definitely like a thing where you're like, oh no, that's super dirty. You're not allowed to do it. Like, and I feel like hopefully with the way that the world is going, that we're slowly going to get away from that. Because you went to Europe, right? Mm-hmm. And in Europe, you saw like on television at 5 o'clock on a regular channel porn,
Yeah.
right? So in Europe, that's just like a regular thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're getting there.
I was shocked. I can't imagine America ever having that.
I mean,
just don't see it
in Days
happening,
of Our
but-
Lives, they get pretty, you know.
No, this is like straight porn
I
on
know.
primetime television.
I know, but like imagine
My
if
mom was in the hotel. I'm like, we're going out for drinks, me and my sister. And she's like, okay. She's flipping through channels. She was like, oh my God. And then there's just people fucking on the screen. And I'm not talking like Cinemax fucking. I'm talking like straight porn fucking. And in America, you're like, okay, I need to go to like Pornhub for that. But this was like their channel 4.
yeah.
And that's just the norm.
Can you imagine if Luke and Laura had a porn scene? Like, how great would General Hospital
Whoever
have
wanted
been?
to see Luke naked?
Well, apparently a lot of people. He was like America's sex symbol. I think I just aged myself.
Yeah, you did, and he was not hot.
Well, people thought he was.
His
He was.
hair? Oh god.
Oh, TV Guide had him as like America's sexiest man. Like,
I don't think that's true.
Oh, we're gonna have-
No, the relationship was cute. They had like a love story. That was cool. But I don't think he was like a sex symbol.
oh, he totally was a sex symbol. But there was a lot of stuff like growing up. Like it was very like hush hush. Like you couldn't talk about anything. And now all these shows come out, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, and our kids are older, so we could be more open with the conversation. I mean, we've had our own journey, and so that led to this open conversation. But, yeah.
Do you think that our journey has made us a little bit more awake? Like, do you think
I
that?
don't know, because even going on our journey in the last few years, we still were, like, 10 years ago, we still were open about stuff. Because I wanted to make sure that our kids had, like, a open forum to discuss things, even though kids are like, ew, I'm not talking about that with you. But if they needed to, that they could, you know, because I never had the open forum. So I think that worked out quite well.
I think it did too. I mean, they grew up to be amazing people.
Yeah, they're both great.
But I feel like there's like a there's like a renaissance, like a sexual renaissance happening right now. Like in the 70s, there was like the sexual revolution where everybody was like, sex is a thing. But I feel like today it's really a revolution. I feel like things are truly like coming out. I feel like it's more mainstream because in the 70s, yeah, they had things like porn in New York City that people would go watch. What was like the Deep Throat movie and that kind of stuff. But like nowadays, it's on regular television. You know, like you're watching it on HBO or like Starz has Now Apocalypse. Like there's these things that are just existing nowadays that are really helping perpetuate the fact that like, hey, this is fine, like this is okay, like why is everybody
especially
freaking out?
with like same-sex
relationships.
Yeah, because like the first time we watched Now Apocalypse, the opening sequence is 2 men having sex with each other, and that's not even something I ever saw on TV. I never
No.
saw that on TV.
No, the first time we saw that was with 6 Feet Under.
That was HBO.
Yeah, and that was like shit, like 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, like 18 years ago.
And that show was groundbreaking for that reason and many other reasons. And they really broke boundaries with the relationships between a family, you know, the David and his boyfriend, the daughter that was there with her relationship. So they broke multiple boundaries, but there's not a lot of shows like that
No,
that exist.
and then now we have there's a show which isn't. So we're not big into the BDSM stuff. So there's these things that we may be naive to, but as outside voyeurs of the BDSM world, that show that just came on Hulu
Bondage.
called Bonding.
Bonding. Okay.
It's called Bonding.
All right.
Do you want to look it up?
Sure.
So basically, Bonding kind of goes through a lot of that stuff. And it shows it kind of like from a perspective of someone who's been in the industry and what they do, and then someone who just comes from the outside who thinks a lot of that stuff is weird. And they show those things, and I find it to be quite compelling. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, a show like this never existed before. Mm-hmm. So what do you think? Like, do you think that we're coming into this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the other one that I can speak to is the show Shrill with Aidy Bryant. I think that show's pretty cool. It is, basically a female who is a little bit overweight. She's a chubby girl, and she's sleeping with this rando guy who makes her, like, go out the back door of his house every day because he doesn't want her to, like, meet his friends. And so she goes through that situation with him, but throughout the episode, there is a scene where they're having sex, and you don't see a girl who's like a plus-size girl ever having sex with a man. And she was fucking him on the couch, and it's like, oh, she can be sexy even though she's not a size 6.
Yeah, and she did it on the couch because she was telling him, no, I'm not going to the bedroom. We're going to do it out here, because he was like, you want to do it out here? What if someone sees? And she's like, I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Like, this is...
She was feeling herself.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay to feel yourself.
Shrill
even though
was
you're not,
amazing.
Like, skinny.
Yeah. Shrill was amazing. And the show Bonding, by the way, is on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And it's called Bonding. Mm-hmm. But Shrill was like super interesting because you don't see that a lot on television. And I think that Netflix has really opened the door. Like, not only did it just massacre Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and Redbox and kill everything that came before it, but it really put a situation where they're like, hey, I can put these things out there and let the people decide what they want to watch, because whenever someone clicks play, only they know. Like, I don't know if you know this, but, like, Netflix doesn't necessarily release all of its, like...
Content?
No, they don't release all of their, what's the word where you're looking at, like, how many people views the show?
Just analytics.
Yeah, like, they don't release their analytics to the public. They only did it for Roma during that time so that they can get people to watch it. But they put these shows out there, and it's like everyone's watching them. Mm-hmm. And it's not just Netflix, and it's not just Hulu which has Stars, which has now Apocalypse, but HBO has been really jumping on that bandwagon of normalizing sex. There's a show that you really like that's on HBO, Insecure. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that show.
That one's really good too. Well, it's about a female who's, just trying to make her way. It's kind of similar to Shrill. And she has a boyfriend, and she wasn't feeling the relationship, and she goes and she cheats on him, and then he eventually finds out, so she breaks up with him, and she has to, like, find her way after. So it's really just about the trials and tribulations of a woman and the men that she meets, and it's fucking awesome, and it's really funny, too.
Isn't the only one of the few scenes I haven't seen much of that show. You watched it more than I have, but there was a scene you showed me where she's going down on a dude and he comes on her face by mistake,
like accidentally.
Yeah,
because like she pulls up and he comes and it goes in her eye.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm gonna come, and then she like pulls away, and then he just comes in her face.
He comes all over her face, and then she breaks up with him over it, and it's just really funny.
Which, like, up to that point, I thought to myself, up to that point, I thought to myself, I could mistakenly come in your face. But then when I saw her break up with him, I was like, all right, maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe I shouldn't do that.
But I want to mistakenly come in your face.
It's never gonna happen because I swallow. So.
Oh, look at that! Let's shout out to Janelle. But that show is also really good, and you do enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. That
show was really good, and then Girls was also another one that I didn't actually watch, but you watched a lot of it, and they kind of talked about awkward sexual encounters, which is I think like super important, because like we know people who have sex and then they have these awkward encounters and they feel like something's wrong with them, but awkward sexual encounters is like a normal thing.
I think more so than being an awkward sexual encounter, I think that a lot of these shows really focus on relationships between female, female, male, male, female, male, whether it be friendship, a romantic relationship, whatever that might be. It really focuses on how there's really no like rule, and it's just kind of like it is what it is, and it might make you feel bad, it might make you feel good, it might not. You really don't know how it might be making you feel. So I think that it's not just about you hooking up or these characters hooking up with people. It's more deep than that, which I really appreciate, because it shines a light on like what it could look like when you're a single woman on Tinder, or you're a woman who has just broken up with a man and you are not really sure if you want to be with that person, but you still like to have sex with them, or maybe you're venturing out and being with another female if you're a female, like just kind of like getting to know yourself and like really understanding why you're in a certain relationship, again, whether it be friendship or romantic, with female, male, whatever it may be, like why you're doing it, does it make you feel good, stuff like that. Like in the show Girls, there was an episode where Marnie meets her ex-boyfriend and he's like on drugs and she still fucks him, and then she feels really bad about herself afterwards. Like, why did she do that? Like, why did she fuck him even though he broke her heart however many months prior? So it's like, I don't know, it just makes you kind of look at yourself like, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And there's so many shows out there now that really showcase so many different types of personalities that I feel like you could easily identify with something out there. And then it also, you feel better like about yourself, like knowing, like I was saying, like, oh, okay, like I'm not the only one who got my period in front of people. Like it's so relatable, and it makes you feel like you're not alone. Because if there's a show out there that's like focusing on this one topic, that means that other people are going through the same thing.
So we don't have a lot of time per se to really get into this topic, but I do just kind of want to like put it on there so that we can have a brief discussion about it. But do you feel like a lot of these shows are good, but a lot of them are aimed towards the female perspective? And I know that everyone thinks that we had, Die Hard growing up in the 90s, or in the 80s, and we had Terminator, and we had all these things that are very masculine male shows. And then there was a show on HBO that we tried to watch, and we didn't really like it because the male perspective wasn't very relatable, but it was called, remember, like Married or something, where the guy would like fantasize about his secretary.
Yeah.
And then,
well, I mean, I can't say that I know all men because I don't, but I think that a lot of times men are depicted in a certain way in television, where it's like, what's that fucking show that you watched where there's like, it's like a football themed show, but it's not about football at all. Varsity Blues? No, not that one. I can't remember, but it was like a bunch of different characters. Some of them were married. It had a bunch of famous people in it. I can't remember, but you were like obsessed with it. And a couple of the episodes that I caught you watching, they were good. But a lot of times men are depicted as just like sex crazy. That's it. Like sex driven creatures. Like you're just driven by that and not by emotion at all. So I don't know. Like, is that a true depiction of all men in your experience of being a man and knowing men? Yeah, because that's how you're depicted on television.
Because it's interesting with all these shows that we've been talking about, the things that make these shows really great is the way that they put a voice to women and the way that women can, exist in the world.
But I feel like Sex Education, the main character was a man, and he was a young man, but he was a man, and he was a sensitive man. And the girl that he was like, obviously there's a love interest in the show, right? Ultimately, but he wasn't like a typical man. And that's why she didn't like him.
And that's my point. Yeah, right. Like there isn't like that show was good, and we related to it because he wasn't a typical man. Mm-hmm. The reason I bring this up is because shows like Insecure, even Big Mouth, and I mean everything we talked about, Sex Education, with all the shows that we were discussing, Shrill, they all show these different sides of femininity that are important and that we need to look at so that way we can grow as human beings. But do you think that the femininity gets lost when they try to depict men. Because like right now, like I've been watching The Last Ship, right? So that's a guy show. Mm-hmm. And all it is just a Navy ship blowing things up and dudes shooting guns.
Yeah.
So I think that like the next level of Hollywood for me, and this is what I would ask for, is that they start showing things of like men going through this stuff. Like we saw that movie Life Itself, right? Is that the name of the movie, Life Itself, on Amazon?
So. Yeah.
And the main character, or what you think is the main character, he is talking about how he broke up with his girl and there's all this stuff that's going on. And he's very emotional and he's like losing a lot of himself. And then it's kind of like, that's it. Then he's gone. So I feel like there's just all of these things that like, though we're crossing the plateau of being able to put women forward and show the country or the world that like there's the other half of the population has all these things to offer when it comes to talent or to what they're going through. I feel like we're kind of missing the boat because there's really no way to explore masculine
so what do you think,
emotion.
Where do you think the mark is being missed with masculine emotion?
I just don't think that there is any. I can't imagine. I can't think of all the stuff we watch and all the things that we put ourselves in front of. The stuff we like the most is the stuff that explores femininity in some way. So maybe that's the thing. I feel like the next.
I watched the show. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
it's
you.
Okay.
I watched the show Divorced. I don't know if you ever saw.
No, I have not seen
multiple episodes of that.
No.
That one's pretty good because I felt.
But isn't he still the asshole?
No, he's not. He didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he had different jobs throughout their marriage. He wasn't like a secure he wasn't. I don't know how to say it. Like he wasn't like a rock for her, so she couldn't trust him with the income that he was making. He was like a construction worker and he had dreams to do other things, but he never like cheated on her or anything like that. They would just like fight over money and stuff like that. So he wasn't like some guy that did like one thing wrong. It's just that they grew apart, and then it showed like what he went through in the divorce and what she went through in the divorce. And I felt like that was a really good show because it didn't really have like a winner or a loser.
Yeah, but wasn't
or a
it
hero
Sarah
or a
Jessica
villain.
Parker?
Yeah, it was Sarah Jessica Parker.
Isn't Sarah Jessica Parker the main character in that?
They're both the main character. It's the guy that played Sandman. I forget his name.
Yeah, no, I know who you're
Tom
talking about.
Something or another. But there was no hero or villain in that show. And there were things that she did wrong where she had to come to terms with. And then there's things that he did wrong which he had to come to terms with. But nobody because a lot of these shows, like someone cheats on someone and like, well, you're a fucking asshole. You cheated on your spouse. So you're the villain. But there was no clear villain in the show. And then they showed how, you could empathize with him being away from his family. The kids stayed with her, and he didn't have his kids all the time, and he had to be away from his kids on a daily basis. And there was a part where he had no money. He bought a house to like renovate or flip or whatever it was, and he's sleeping like on an air mattress in a house, and his kids come over to visit him.
But did you empathize with him in the same way that you empathize with her?
I did.
Yeah?
Honestly, yeah.
Because I haven't seen that show, but that's what I'm saying.
Show.
Like I feel like there is and now is not the time to do it. No one gives a shit about it because it's like men have this thing about them where like they make the most money, which isn't the case in our house, or they're like men are the most successful, which isn't the case in our house.
Thank you for
or they're like everything's about the man, which isn't the case in our house. so it's like I feel like men of the 1980s have done such a bad job of giving, like, their PR person has been fired and they have a new PR person, but men aren't really shown. Like Crashing, the show that we've been watching on HBO.
Yeah,
which
but again, then that show, who was the villain? The wife was the villain in that show. She cheated on him.
she did, and that show shows this dude, but it's not necessarily to the level of like I'm thinking like Sex in the City was 10 years too early. Like if Sex in the City had never aired and it came out today,
It's still
it would be $1
relevant.
trillion show.
No, it's still relevant. If you watch the episodes, it's
Yeah,
still
it
very
is.
relevant.
But I'm just saying, like there's no show like that for men, and I think that men don't have that platform, which is fine. I'm not asking for it, but I'm just saying that like a guy like me, like I'm that middleman. I'm the one who I'm not a woman and I'm not a man. You know what I mean? like I'm right in the middle, and there's and a
But
lot
you're
of
not
this stuff.
super masculine, and I think a lot of like, to go back to your '80s comment, like I don't hate on that because I feel like they're just going with what they were raised with, and like the the old school mentality that their parents kind of instilled in them. So it's not necessarily like anyone's fault. It's just that they're who they are. They have to take care of the family. They have to make the most money. They're the breadwinner. Where nowadays it's a little bit different, and whatever that is, it's okay, and it doesn't make you less of a man because you don't make as much as your wife.
And no, I understand. I'm not saying
You're
that.
saying that there should be a show
No,
about it?
I'm saying that like we just started watching Dead to Me, which is about these two girls who are finding.
We got to continue on that.
Yeah, so there's these two girls who like become friends, and they're watching Facts of Life together, right? Facts of Life. I like Facts of Life, so I'm like sitting here like connecting with these women.
You take the bad, you
Take it all, and there you have the facts of life.
The
facts of life.
Sorry.
There's a world never seen
to be living
up to your dreams. Okay, but my point is that like when I'm watching all these shows, I am connecting with these female characters. Like I loved Shrill. I loved it. And
Yeah.
I'm watching it and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm smiling and I love it and this show's so good." And then we watched that show Special, and even in Special, so are you crunching on ice on the show?
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So this show Special, which is amazing, it's about this person with CP, and he's a
just
gay
trying to
man,
live
and
his
he's just
life.
trying to live his life, and he's like under his mom's rule, and he's just trying to go out. But he's also very, he's just trying to do these things, and it's a very feminine show, and I'm just like, I love this show. And then like I have to like tag on to these shows where that you have these women, and I'm just like, I love this, and I'm looking forward to Amy Poehler and like her new Netflix movie
What
with.
women in the show Special? The mom?
No, but I'm saying the show is very much like it could have been a girl playing that role. It didn't really change anything that he's a dude.
Well, it's like, I guess it's going up against like gendered norms.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, so here I am, I'm stuck in the middle, and I love all of these
You're
shows.
stuck in the middle.
And like it's kind of like one of those things where like half my friends were huge into like G.I. Joe, and I was a big fan of The Last Unicorn, and The Last Unicorn is a very feminine
Yeah.
show. So now it's basically like I'm saying like I get it. There's like 90% of dudes are douchebags. I get that, but I want a show that kind of like speaks to me. Like I want a show where I could see like a guy who's just kind of like.
What
trying-
about the show with David Duchovny, Californication?
Oh, Californication was great, but what the
He
show?
wasn't very masculine.
No, but what made that show so good though was his wife and his daughter. That show was like so good because you had this person who was shitty going up against these powerful forces in his life, and they made the show good.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going back 10 minutes ago where I said it's not about, in these shows that anyone is watching, it's not really about one person. It's more so showcasing relationships.
I understand what you're saying.
Name a show where there's not a person in a relationship of some kind and how they behave in that relationship.
I understand where you're coming
That's
from.
what shows are.
But a lot of times they're female centric, especially nowadays.
There is plenty of male centric.
Yes, but the male centric television, I agree with you, but male centric television is what I don't necessarily like. What I'm asking
Okay,
for.
so in your dream
I'm
world,
asking-
what is it going to look like?
I want a Sex in the City for men, but not married men. Like
Mm-hmm.
that movie, the show Married Men on HBO was this dude who was a married man, and they tried to do that, and it wasn't really that good.
What about the movie American Pie?
No, that's the thing. I want something that's like Insecure, but with a dude. I want something that is like Shrill, but with a guy. Like, I feel like I go through that stuff all the time.
The show that we just watched, Apocalypse Now, did a good job.
Now Apocalypse, yes, but now
sorry, Now Apocalypse.
Now Apocalypse.
That did a really good job because you had the one guy who had the cold girlfriend who was
Yes,
like,
but that
yeah,
guy-
I'm fucking other people. We're in an open
No,
relationship, and
that
he's like
did-
crying his eyes out because he doesn't want to see his
No,
girlfriend.
that
fuck
did
other
a good
people.
job, but that show was coming from a place of comedy,
I mean,
and they turned that
was
into a
not
comedic
comedy.
thing.
No, I don't
they
think
did.
so. I don't agree with that.
I'm just saying, it's impossible. I sound like an asshole, so I'm gonna. I know that, everybody. Like, I get it straight out of the gate. I'm not asking for us to have more shows like NCIS or any of these things that just show dudes going around just like being men. I'm talking about a show that shows dudes who are regular people, the ones who open doors for women.
the show Love.
The Love was close, but it was still.
How does it get better than that? Love is basically Insecure, but with this white Jewish man in Hollywood.
No, because they used a nerd. So
it doesn't matter. You're saying the average man.
No, but
you
the
want a show about
funny-
an average
No,
man.
but that's what made Love funny, is that they used a nerd. I'm talking about a guy who looks like Nick from what the show, dude. Nick
What? Nick who?
Nick from the Next Door. What, like, oh, the girl. Come on, Zoe Deschanel.
Oh, girl next door.
No, Zoe Deschanel, the show that she's on television.
Girl next door.
That's not the name of that show.
Girl.
Who's that girl? It's Jess.
Whatever.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So I like Nick. I want a show on TV that uses Nick, which is just this dude who like
They showcased him in that show
yeah,
very well, actually.
they did.
He went through ups and downs with her, with other people in relationships, and it came out that he was in love with his fucking roommate. So they showcased his emotion and how he was scared to tell her that he loved her and all of those things.
Right, but the thing is I'm looking for a show that's just about like that kind of stuff.
You said it. You said specifically you want a Sex in the City with men.
I do.
But I feel like that's been done before.
By who? But that's the thing, though. It hasn't. Not really. It's been done from like a piece of shit guy perspective, but it has not been done from a real, like a 2019 take on just a guy.
Can you please define to me what that means to you?
I mean, emotional vulnerability.
Like what?
What do you mean, like what?
So you're saying there's never been
It's
a show
New
with
Girl.
a man?
I can't believe we didn't say New Girl.
There's never been a man on a show with emotional vulnerability?
There was a brief moment. And I think this is maybe my age, so I'm just gonna say but there was a moment when I was growing up where there was a slew of movies like Can't Buy Me Love that kind of showcased what I'm trying to talk about for 2019. And Can't Buy Me Love, this dude was just like this.
But you don't watch rom-coms anymore, so you really can't know if they exist anymore. You don't watch them.
I watch rom-coms. What's the
When?
I want to watch the movie right now with
You never watch rom-coms.
I watch good
Can't Buy Me
rom-coms.
Love. Can't Buy Me Love is a rom-com.
No, but I watch the good ones.
Which
If there's
one? What's the last one you watched?
What's the one with the girl from Pitch Perfect that I want to see right now?
You haven't seen it yet.
No, but
It's
I
not
want to
even
see
out
it.
yet.
But I
And
want to see it.
That's about Rebel Wilson.
Yes.
It's not about a man.
This is my point. I asked you to go to the movie theaters to see this because I'm like, this is going to be a good movie, but they don't make movies like that for guys because guys wouldn't spend money. It all comes down to money, and that's my point. Like, they can't make we went to go see that rom-com with the dude, I can't remember his name, where we went to the movie theater and we saw him, and it's the story about his life when he met his wife. Mm-hmm. And I took you to theater to see that. That was a good rom-com, and that was dude-centric. Mm-hmm. And that was a great film.
So they exist, is what you're saying.
It's far and few in between. We have 15 movies about, like, having your period and one movie about being a
There's
guy.
not 15 movies about having your period, first of all. Let's just clear that up right now.
What was the name of that movie, damn it? Remember we went to go see it?
Time something?
No, the one we just saw last year. It was the comedy with the Middle Eastern guy, the guy who's super funny.
Oh, Sick.
Yes.
Big Sick.
The Big Sick.
The Big Sick.
So good.
That was good.
That was so good. And he knew. He's talking about what I'm trying to say right now. It's very rare that we see a guy's perspective that isn't filled with like things blowing up. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to say that I'm in that boat. And I love all the shows that we've been talking about. And I love all the things that we've been talking about. But I'm kind of not in... Like, unless I want to go watch another Fast and Furious movie.
The funny thing is that you actually do love Fast and Furious, and you
No,
actually
I do.
do love The Last Ship. You actually do love things blowing up.
I do, but what do I like more, though? What do you think I like more?
You like the feels.
I like the feels.
Yeah, you do.
And there's not anything like that. So I'm screaming out to the world, give me feels, but from a guy's perspective. And
Well, in my perspective as a female, there's one movie that depicts women in a nonchalant way who are not crying over a man. The one movie that I can think of is The Sweetest Thing with Christina Applegate. That movie is so funny. Cameron Diaz is in it, and Selma...
Hayek?
No.
Selma Blair.
Selma Blair. And it's hysterical, and it's really fucking funny. And there's a love and all of that shit at the end. But throughout the movie, you're like laughing at the relationships that they have. And there's not a lot of that either. It's always like the man broke someone's heart. He cheated on her. He didn't go down on her enough. He didn't satisfy her sexually. It's always about like, woe is me, I'm a woman. And it's like, why?
Well,
Why do we always have to be like the damsel in distress?
that movie was a pre-Frozen era, and we're in a post-Frozen era.
I see.
So in Frozen, no man came
Also,
to the
it's
rescue.
pre-Arya killing the Night King and saving everyone.
Right.
Like,
spoiler alert.
I don't even care.
If you haven't seen it by now, then fuck you.
No one's listening, and there's going to be spoiled by that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. That was what you're talking about was a pre-Frozen industry, and we're in the post-Frozen industry, which I love. And that's the thing. That's what I'm telling you about. Like, I love watching Frozen, and I'm like, that movie was amazing. I came home and then found the
What does
legal
that
way.
have to do with you being a man wanting to see more men things?
Because I want the male Frozen. I don't even know if it exists. Like, you guys need to hit us up and tell us if it is even possible to see the male Frozen, because I believe that, guys, the masculinity in America is broken. Like in Paris, men are men. They're real men, and they can be like a little bit like aggressive, or they can be a little bit this, but they also know how to love, and they know how to be like, sweep you off your feet. But in America, it's broken. You either have, yo, what's up, baby? Let me get some of that pussy. Or you have, let me get that door for you. Okay, vagina guy. Like, there's no in between. And I want to start seeing more stuff that's in between. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I'm the in between.
You want a show about an average man?
I want a show about me. I want a show about me, like some
Okay.
average dude who like is just trying to be a nice guy, and he's fallen in the fact that he doesn't work on cars, so he's not man enough to be a man, but he doesn't have a vagina, so he's not woman enough to be a woman, and he's just stuck in this world where it's just kind of like he's in the middle. Like, I feel like there's this. Imagine if there was a war between white and black, and then I'm in the middle. Like, I'm brown. Like, I'm not white, I'm not black, but like I'm stuck in this thing where like my voice isn't being heard because it's only this way or that way. Like, I'm gray.
I mean, that's kind of true, actually.
Yeah, so
You are brown.
I am brown. I meant to say gray, but either way, I'm just saying, like, it's just interesting because I feel like there's all the shows that we talk about, they're all really good, and I feel like everybody needs to go see them. But like, in today's day and age, is it possible to have a show with a masculine lead that can have the same effect as a show with a female lead? That's my point. I feel like we went on this long tangent, but I think we got places with it.
I think so.
But so that's our show.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I can't believe it's already been fucking an hour and 13 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's
Holy
a long
shit.
time.
I mean, that was like 3 glasses of wine for me.
I like talking to you, though.
I love talking to you. So thank you so much for sticking with us. I
Thank
so
you.
apologize for all the craziness and not having an episode last week. But you can find us at So What It's Just Sex on Facebook, at So What It's Just SX on Instagram and Twitter. We're also at sowhatitsjustsex.com, and you can email us at info@sowhatitsjustsex. Plus, we have a Patreon, and we also have a thing through Podbean, which is our new hosting site, which allows you to support the show. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
I love you, honey.
I love you.
All right, talk to you guys soon.
So what? It's just sex.
Wait a minute.